Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to another video here on the Fellow KGB channel. My name is Kyle. We're going to be doing our second first-round mock draft, I guess, in the last couple of days. I did post that video, I think it was Monday night, so check that one out if you're interested. Fun one. I'm not a mock draft expert or anything like that, but I mean, I like to look into the quarterbacks, the running backs, the wide receivers, and the tight ends. So I do have good range of knowledge on those guys. But this is going to be for fun. This is mock draft number 2. I'll probably post another one on Saturday, hanging out with a couple friends. Well, I don't know if we'll live stream it or not, but we do have a couple more mock drafts coming out. I have been just kind of tweaking my mock drafts and just looking for different answers and different fits. So we're just gonna have some fun with this one. We're just gonna I don't know. We're just gonna off the wall. We're just going to do it really quick. So we're going to start with the Jaguars. We're just going to lock Trevor Lawrence in there. No questions about this one. I'm using the Draft Network. If you guys haven't used their mock draft machine, it's pretty cool. You can even, do full 7-round mocks. You can pick the team you want to be, or you can just do all 32 teams. So that's what we're doing. The Jets are up. There seems to be a pretty strong beat that it's Zach Wilson. I'm open to it not being Zach Wilson and just having a ton of chaos here. So really, the draft kind of starts at number 3 with San Francisco. I think earlier today there was some interesting news. I don't know, like Mel Kiper and Todd McShay and all these experts seem to believe that it's Mac Jones. I want to see here. So I mean, Daniel Jeremiah and Mel Kiper both believe the 49ers will select Alabama Mac Jones with the 3rd overall pick. So I don't know. Usually teams don't let out their answers like this, so this could be a smokescreen. But for this mock draft, I think I had Mac Jones fall to like 9 in my other one. So we're gonna have Mac Jones go here to San Francisco. I haven't been mocking this. I have been mocking Trey Lance, so this is kind of different for me. But we'll go Mac Jones to San Francisco here, and this gives the Atlanta Falcons some interesting opportunities here. It does say they need a tight end. I still think Hayden Hurst is fine for a year if they wanted to pass on Kyle Pitts. They technically don't need a quarterback. Matt Ryan's under contract for the next 2 or 3 years, so they could reach for a guy like Fields or Lance here. I think just for fun, we're gonna lock in Kyle Pitts. Tight end at number 4 overall. I think that would be the highest any tight end's ever been drafted. And Kyle Pitts is worth it. He's a really good pass blocking weapon and run blocking option, but he might be one of the best pass catchers even over the wide receivers in this draft. So Kyle Pitts, number 4 to Atlanta. They avoid the quarterback. We're going to go with Cincinnati here. The obvious thing is that they need to protect Joe Burrow here. So a lot of people have just been locking in Penei Sewell here. And then the Dolphins are up, and it says they need wide receiver, edge rusher. The edge rushers aren't very good, I guess, towards the top of the draft. That's not really when you want to pull an edge player here. The running backs they can wait on. The linebackers, they could take a guy like Micah Parsons at Penn State here. So there's a rumor that if there was a trade, the Dolphins could be moving down for someone that wants to go ahead and get a Fields or a Lance or another quarterback that is falling here. So I'm not doing trades. I guess I could, hit the trade button here and kind of fill this out. It looks like it's exclusive for premium members. So for this one, we're going to go ahead with a wide receiver, Jamar Chase. And then the Detroit Lions are up. I mean, the Lions do need wide receiver help quite a bit. They did sign Brashad Perriman. I think they have Tyrell Williams, and then Quintez Cephas is their 3rd receiver. So that, I mean, if Jamar Chase is here, I could see them wanting to scoop him up. They do need cornerback. So that's where Patrick Surtain II becomes interesting. We could see offensive tackle here, Rashawn Slater. So I don't know, the 2 names that come to mind. I don't want to go quarterback this, we're definitely interested in quarterback. They have Jared Goff under contract for a little bit here. But I think what we're going to do is we're going to get, let's go ahead and get, let's get Rashawn Slater off the board, and the Lions start to build up front. If Carolina was up here and Rashawn Slater was still up, they would probably hammer that pick in. They do need offensive tackle. I think it's really close between Slater and Penei Sewell. Cornerback is another need here, so you could see Patrick Surtain. They would take Kyle Pitts, I think, if he was there. They also need a quarterback. So, like, all of these needs right here are really good for the Carolina Panthers to make, hold at number 8 and try to get their guy. But again, with no Slater, no Chase, no Sewell, no Pitts, what do you do here? I think we're just going to reach here for Patrick Surtain just a little bit and make him the 8th selection of the draft. Now the Denver Broncos are up, and they are giddy. They get their chance at one of these quarterbacks here. And it's like I wish I could be able to trade up here 'cause we're gonna have to make one of these guys fall. So I'm gonna whether it's Fields or Lance, you can flip a coin. I mean, they're kind of the same player. It's really a preference call at this point. Trey Lance has had less competition, being from North Dakota State, Ohio State. With Justin Fields, he's put a lot more against better competition on tape. So with this, I am going to go with. We'll flip a coin in my head. We're going to go with Trey Lance to the Denver Broncos. But I think for the most part, it seems like the Broncos want a quarterback, and they might be willing to move up. Who knows? So this puts the Cowboys at number 10. People have just been mocking them, the best defensive player available. If that's Patrick Surtain that falls, that does make a lot of sense. But I've seen J.C. Horn here out of South Carolina being one of their preferred draft picks at 10. So we're going to lock in the second best corner of the draft. The New York Giants are up here. I don't know if they need a receiver. They did sign Kenny Galladay in the draft or in the free agency market. They do need an edge. A cornerback would make sense here, but J.C. Horn and Surtain just went off the board. Linebacker kind of makes sense here. So I think I'm going to go ahead and get Micah Parsons off the board here from Penn State. That leaves Philadelphia up. They also need a wide receiver. They took Jalen Reagor in the first round last year. Tight end could be interesting, but that's only if Kyle Pitts were to fall. Cornerback is another pretty good need here. They could take a guy like Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech. Safety, a little bit too high. Linebacker, they just missed out on Micah Parsons. So they're purely in a best wide receiver available kind of situation here. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go with Jalen Waddle, Alabama's receiver here. I have no question marks on Jalen Waddle. I think a lot of people are nervous about Devonta Smith's weight, so we'll see how far I make him fall. So the Chargers are up here. They need offensive linemen badly. They did sign the Packers center Corey Linsley in the offseason, so that position is a strength now. Don't really know if I can name either of their starting tackles, so I'm going to go ahead and lock in Christian Darrisaw here to help Justin Herbert stay upright. And then the Vikings are up, and they also need some linemen, but that's more interior. And the best interior lineman, where are we? It's Elijah Vera Tucker. So this one seems to be one of the favorite picks. I think he's a lock for a top 15. If Minnesota gets him on their board, they're going to probably run that pick in. So that makes a lot of sense. And then here it is. The quarterback falls all the way to New England, and that's going to be Justin Fields in this mock draft. Again, I'm not an expert. I don't know anything. This is just for fun. We're just seeing some of the different possibilities, and it's just kind of fun to dream and see what could happen. Because I don't know, 5 quarterbacks in the first 10 picks, that seems to be what most people are mocking, but that's never been done in NFL history. So we'll see what happens there. Now, the Arizona Cardinals are up. They do need corner. They did lose Patrick Peterson this offseason, linebacker, interior offensive line. They kind of could get a receiver if they wanted to, but I don't think they're going to do it this early. So cornerback, the best one would be Caleb Farley. This one does make sense to me here. There's really a couple linebackers that come to mind. Jeremiah Owosu does make sense here. I think Koromoa, if I'm saying that correctly. But we're going to just lock in the best cornerback, Caleb Farley. He seems to be like a top 20 consensus pick, so it's not much of a reach. Now the Las Vegas Raiders are up. They kind of need an offensive tackle. They could use someone on the interior defensive line. Linebacker makes sense. Safety makes sense, especially playing against Patrick Mahomes twice a year. So what do we think the Raiders are going to do? I think their defense needs more help. They are technically okay on the edge. A guy like Zaven Collins comes to mind. Christian Barmore makes a lot of sense here. Offensive tackle Tevin Jenkins could be the pick. So I'm not sure which. It's always hard to predict which way John Gruden is going to go. So with this draft, I think what did I go with earlier today? I decided to give them the safety, Trevon Moehrig from TCU. But I think in this draft, let's go ahead and just get Tevin Jenkins off the board here, best offensive tackle available here. And now the Miami Dolphins are back up on the board, number 18th overall. It's their second pick of the draft so far. We got them Jamar Chase at the start. They need an edge. They need a running back. They need a linebacker here. So we're going to go ahead and get them one of the best defensive players available. Now, whether you believe that's Jalen Phillips, Zaven Collins, Jeremiah Owosu, Koromoa, or Kwity Paye, I think those are kind of even Azeez Ojulari, those are kind of the top 5 defensive linebackers, edge rushers. So let's go ahead and give them, I like Jalen Phillips, the Miami kid staying in Miami. So we'll go with that. For the most part, I'm trying to be more correct about the position that these teams are drafting. That kind of helps me really understand what a team needs and what they evaluate and what they're looking at. So Washington's up. They need offensive tackle, lineman or linebacker, safety, cornerback, or wide receiver. We still have Devonta Smith on the board here. They kind of could use some more offensive line help, but I think at this point you're looking at guys like Alex Leatherwood, um, Samuel Cosmi here, Liam Eichenberg. Yeah, it seems like a little bit of a reach at tackle. So if they wanted to, they could trade down and try to go get some, more draft picks. I could see wide receiver here. Devonta Smith would make sense, but they already kind of have smaller receivers with Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. Perhaps they want someone a little bit more, of a traditional big X receiver. Now, I'm trying to think. It would make a lot of sense for them to go after a lineman here, but we just lost some of our best offensive linemen. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go with the linebacker here, Jeremiah Owosu Koromoa, out of Notre Dame here. And Chicago Bears are up. They need a quarterback. They need offensive line help, although they did play better last year at that position. But Devonta Smith is still on the board, and I think this is where I'm going to slot the Alabama wide receiver and Heisman Trophy winner. The Indianapolis Colts are number 21, offensive tackle, corner, wide receiver, interior D-line. All of these guys are a major need. Not a major need, but this defense, on the interior, they got someone next to DeForest Buckner that I'm not too sure that they want starting. So, I mean, if they're up to pick you and you're looking at Christian Barmore, I think that could be a lot of fun. They do need to replace Anthony Costanzo from the offensive line. I don't know if Alex Leatherwood is a reach at this point, or Samuel Cosmi or Eichenberg. So I'm not super into the offensive tackles here. I think we're going to go ahead and land another Alabama player here in Christian Barmore to, solidify that defensive line. The Tennessee Titans are up. They do need some help on defense with corner. They also need a wide receiver. And we just saw Devonta Smith go off the board. Offensive tackle needs some help. Safety needs some help. They could use a tight end, but, Kyle Pitts is off the board here. So what do we do here? The Titans did lose Jonnu Smith. They also lost Corey Davis in free agency. I think they're going to probably be looking strongly at getting a wingman for A.J. Brown. So we're going to go with Rashad Bateman here, receiver out of Minnesota. The Jets are back up at number 23. We gave them, of course, Zach Wilson at the start of the draft. I think Robert Saleh is going to want to make sure he gets one of his favorite defensive players at this pick. So cornerback would be the next need. I really can't even name one cornerback starting for the New York Jets. So we're going to go ahead and lock in Greg Newsome II here out of Northwestern. They could, elect to take an edge rusher, whether that's Kwity Paye or Ojulari. The Pittsburgh Steelers are up. The popular pick seems to just give them Najee Harris. I think I did that the other day. I might even did it again today. I think that's just like the fan in me wanting Pittsburgh to get a beast of a running back. So we're just going to keep doing it. We're going to will it into existence. You got the Jaguars here. We gave them, of course, Trevor Lawrence, offensive tackle. I don't think receiver is a big need for them. They do need safety help. I don't see running back as a big need. They also need some corners. So looking at this, again, we've kind of talked about the offensive line not being exactly a strong point here. I do like this Landon Dickerson, though, because he can be their starting center. He could be a guard if they needed him to be. So we're just going to plug that offensive line up for Jacksonville here. Again, how many Alabama players do we have so far? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Alabamas in the top 25. So the Browns are up here. They do need edge. They need defensive line. I would say they need a linebacker. Receiver doesn't seem like the major need, but they could also use a cornerback as well. So looking at the edge players here, I'm going to go with, I think I did Azeez Ojulari earlier. I gave them linebacker Koromoa earlier today. So what are we going to do here? What about Kwity Paye? Let's get Kwity Paye off the board from Michigan. Get them. I mean, technically, they did just sign Jadeveon Clowney, so edge doesn't make the most sense to me, but you can never have enough. Maybe perhaps they go with Zaven Collins, kind of get some linebacker edge help there too. Otherwise, Yamin Davis would be out of Kentucky here, would be my next best linebacker. Now the Baltimore Ravens are up, and let me see what I gave them. I gave them Jalen Phillips from Miami earlier today. So I think they're really looking at this edge position, perhaps Trevon Moehrig here. Let's do something different and give them the safety out of TCU. He's the first safety off the board. I did see Sean Payton said for the Saints that he wants to address the cornerback position before the season starts. So I mean, at this point, some of the best cornerbacks available. Um, I think it's kind of weird how low they are on Asante Samuel Jr. That seems very low. He's all the way down here at 60. I think he's a much better player than the 60th overall. So I don't fully agree with these Draft Network rankings. It's just one of the better websites for doing one of these mock drafts. So for the Saints, corner, wide receiver, edge, linebacker. I think they do need a linebacker, so we're going to go ahead and get Yamin Davis off the board. The Green Bay Packers are up. They need an offensive tackle. Starting right tackle would be nice. I think they're fine at center with the Corey Linsley replacement. So right tackle does make sense here. Alex Leatherwood could be a nice player out of Alabama. I don't think wide receiver is one of their biggest needs. They seem to prove that well last year. We could use a cornerback, interior defensive line. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go look for the player that I think really fits well here is Levi Onwuzurike out of Washington. Some people actually have him higher than Christian Barmore, who I put up here at 21. So Green Bay, I mean, just two years ago, we watched them get gashed in the NFC Championship game on the run. They still haven't really addressed that position at all. So for me, it's probably a pick in the trenches, whether it's offensive right tackle or someone to go next to Kenny Clark in the middle on the defensive line here. So we're going to go with Onwuzurike. The Buffalo Bills are up here. We're going to go ahead and they need a pass rush. So I'm thinking Ojulari seems to make quite a bit of sense here for them. And then the Chiefs, whether they don't have any starting left or right tackle, so they need someone pretty bad here. I do think this could be a wide receiver spot, which would be a lot of fun. But I just think let's just get another Alabama player on our offensive line, and we'll go from there. So now the last pick of this mock draft, Tampa Bay wide receiver. I don't know if that's a strong need for them. Depends. I mean, I would assume they're going to get a Chris Godwin deal done either before or during the season and lock him up. Edge rusher, that one seems to be the most useful for me because they do have Jason Pierre-Paul and Ndamukong Suh, both potentially, on the outs and towards the end of their career. So I do like the idea of an edge rusher. Let me see what I gave them. I gave them Gregory Rousseau out of Miami earlier when I was doing this practice stuff today. But they seem to have him down here quite a bit. He didn't play last year. I think he opted out. So I don't know if people are not as high on him. But this is a really fun spot. I do think linebacker does make some sense here. Zaven Collins can kind of be a pass rusher and a linebacker at times. So I'm just going to go ahead and get them one of the best players here out of Tulsa. So Zaven Collins will finish up the draft. So I don't know. That's pretty much it for the mock draft. Again, I think on Saturday morning I'm going to be hanging out with a couple friends. We'll record a first round mock and kind of get you guys some different takes and do some different ideas and things. But I don't know. Check out the Draft Network's mock draft. What's it called? Mock Draft Simulator. If you guys want to, mess around with this and draft for a couple teams or go a couple rounds. But I don't know. Thank you guys for your time. We'll see you in another video. Have a good one. Peace.